Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your home for gaming, tech, news, and reviews. In today's video, we have some pretty interesting news from Analogue. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, if the name Analogue Pocket does seem familiar to you, it's because it probably is familiar to you. They announced this back in October of 2019. I did a video on this on October 16th of 2019, so it's been a little over 9 months since we've really heard anything else about this product. Now, as a refresher, if you missed the announcement today, or maybe you've forgotten about the Analogue Pocket because it has been so long, or maybe you haven't heard about it before, in my opinion, at a high level, this is a luxury retro handheld system, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. But their official description here says a multi-video game system portable handheld, a digital audio workstation with a built-in synthesizer and sequencer, a tribute to portable gaming. Out of the box, Pocket is compatible with the 2,780 plus Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance game cartridge library. Pocket works with cartridge adapters for other handheld systems too, like Game Gear, Geo Pocket Color, Atari Lynx, and more, completely engineered in 2 FPGAs. There are 2 words on this page that are bolded and underlined, and now highlighted. It says no emulation, and this is very important to point out. This is not an emulation device. It's not similar to a Hyperkin device or a Retron device or a BitBoy or really anything of that sort. There is no emulation going on here at all. This is using an FPGA chip. Actually, there are 2 FPGA chips in this device. And keeping things at a high level, because I could do an entire video on FPGA. Actually, I still might do a video on FPGA, come to think about it. But staying on track here, at a high level, this is going to be extremely close to actual hardware, almost 1 for 1. You probably won't get much closer at all. If you had an original device powered up right beside this, they should be nearly identical. You might not even be able to tell the difference. Analogue here is not fooling around. And moving on from there, the Analogue Pocket will have a 3.5-inch screen made from Gorilla Glass and will have 10 times the resolution of an original Game Boy. The sleep and wake feature was just announced, and I quite like this feature. Basically, if you're in the middle of playing and maybe your wife yells at you because you got to go do something, or your friend calls, or you just have to go walk the dog or something like that, you can put the system to sleep and pick it up later exactly where you left off. So you don't have to worry about powering off the system, maybe losing your game if your game doesn't save, or losing any sort of progress. You can just kind of pause it, but preserve battery life. The original display modes is also something that Analogue just announced. So there are 3 display modes here: Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. Apparently these are going to be extremely accurate to the original screens on the original devices. Now, I'm not sure why you would want to use Game Boy. I guess there are some Game Boy enthusiasts out here that love that old screen. I absolutely hate the screen on the original Game Boy, but it is there if you want to use it, and that is pretty cool. There's also going to be a dock for the Analogue Pocket, so you can hook it up to the TV, very similar to the Nintendo Switch. It supports up to 4 players and will work with any 8-bit DOE, Bluetooth, or 2.4G controller, which is really cool. So if you have any of those 8-bit DOE controllers laying around, they should work with the dock. The Analogue Pocket will also be multiplayer. You can connect up to 4 of these together via proprietary cables. For those of you who are really creative, maybe you're an aspiring game programmer, maybe you just have some really cool ideas for a game and don't necessarily know how to bring them to life. Well, Analogue did partner with GB Studios, which is a game development software designed and geared for people without a lot of programming knowledge. Now, if you remember a little earlier, this is separate from all the GB Studio stuff, but I said there were 2 FPGA chips inside the Analogue Pocket. The second FPGA chip is designed for development. So there's a huge chance here. At a high level, there is a very huge chance that the Analogue Pocket will be able to play other systems as well, provided those cores are ported over to the Analogue Pocket. Here are the tech specs for the Analogue Pocket. There are 3 things on this page that I want to point out. The first thing, I touched on this in my last video, but the micro SD card slot. This is a very, very important feature. The micro SD card slot became very useful on other Analogue devices as they were hacked. So you could end up just putting ROMs on the micro SD card, plugging the micro SD card into the system and playing those games without the need for a physical game plugged into the system. I'm going to guess that will be the exact same case here, which is a really good feature. The second thing I want to touch on is the 6 to 10 hour of gameplay time and 10 plus hour of sleep time. This is a very acceptable battery life. This is what I wish the Nintendo Switch had, a 10-hour gameplay time, which is really huge. So a big thumbs up from Analogue for having a decent battery. The last thing I want to touch on are the buttons. Actually, the buttons down there, it's a design change. The 3 buttons on the bottom of the console were not there previously. On my last video, I criticized the placement of the buttons because they're right along the edge here. And when you grab the system, the meat from your palm would, I don't know the technical term for it, but the meat from your palm, just right here, when you grab the system, would probably end up pressing down those buttons. So they move the location from the side to the middle, which is awesome. So big thumbs up from that. Thank you, Analogue. Now, in terms of overall pricing, this is where I said earlier when I started the video that it was a luxury retro handheld, and I'll get into that now. This is priced at $199.99. But wait, there's more. So if you want to pick up the dock, we didn't have prices previously, but it is another $99.99. There's a pocket hard case, which is 30 bucks. Tempered glass screen protector for 16 bucks. Fast charging USB-C power supply for 20 bucks. And each Game Gear adapter, Geo Pocket Color adapter, Atari Lynx adapter will run you another $30 each. The pocket to pocket link cable is $17. And the list goes on. If you're adventurous and want to pick up absolutely everything, you'll end up spending $547.87 on this entire set. Pre-orders for the Analogue Pocket are opening up August 3rd, so just in a few days, with shipping all the way in May of 2021. Quite a ways into the future. There are a lot of people who are really upset with this late shipping date. And it is pretty far away, but at the same time, it has been a really weird year. And for tech companies, a lot of the supply chain has been kind of messed up considerably. So a shipping date this far into the future is a little understandable. Now, overall, as I've said before, I think this is a luxury device for the retro gaming enthusiast. And I say that with love. I don't necessarily think the casual gamer will be interested in something like this, given the price. I honestly think the price will also take this out of consideration from a lot of even retro gaming enthusiasts because it's not a cheap investment. And that's not a knock on the Analogue Pocket. I think this is a really cool device. I think both the black and the white versions are gorgeous pieces of technology and great for the retro gaming community. I only have one concern. After everything we learned in the last video and in this video, my only remaining concern is the D-pad. If this D-pad sucks, this device sucks. And I mean that not harshly and not dramatically, but realistically. And to clarify this, you cannot change out the D-pad easily. It's probably not feasible to expect to be able to change out the D-pad with something better. This is a built-in D-pad on a handheld device. I mean, I guess you could play it in docked mode with the controllers if the D-pad isn't good, but at the same time, as soon as you bring it on the road and you're playing with a crappy D-pad, you're probably going to have a pretty crappy experience as a result. And for $200, I would assume that Analogue has done the work, they've done the R&D to really make a functional and tactile D-pad, but that is my concern, and that's a very big concern to have. I could assume the best and hope for the best, and fingers crossed it will be well implemented. But anyways, that is all I've got for today. So let me know what you think about the Analogue Pocket in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Thank you everyone, take care.